Hi, everybody. Bill Prince again, and welcome to week one of Introduction to Law and Legal Reasoning. Each and every week, I'm going to try to do just a brief video to kind of talk about what we're going to be doing this week and kind of sum up what we did the last week. Obviously, we haven't had a last week yet, but just to kind of, when we do, to talk about what we've talked about and to build on to that. This week, in chapter one, or in week one, again, make sure that you have reviewed the initial welcome video, that you've replied to the Getting to Know You post, and that you have familiarized yourself with the various assignments that are due this week. Remember that the discussion question, the initial posting, is due on Tuesday evening. The replies to that, which need to be a minimum of three, need to be posted over the course of 3 days during the week, with Sunday being the last day that those can be submitted. Make sure that you do your Courts in the News assignment and the week one assignment. Those, of course, are both due on Sunday coming up this week. Again, also make sure that you read the chapter material and be sure to review the PowerPoint. This week, we are going to spend time talking about as much history as we are the law, and we're going to spend some time talking about the context of the court in our system of government. Of course, we are sort of the great American experiment, one of the longest lasting democracies in the history of the world, even though we are relatively new. And we're going to talk a little bit about the three branches of government, and particularly where the judicial branch finds its place in connection with the other two. So you're going to be learning a little bit about some history. Some of this may be old hat for you, but it's a good review. Anyway, and of course, we're going to spend some time talking about the creation of our Constitution, because obviously the Constitution, by its own terms, is the supreme law of the land. And so everything else that any other branch of government does, the legislative, the executive, or the judicial, has to be consistent with the Constitution. And we will see that courts, because of a case called Marbury versus Madison, find themselves in the unique position where they and the Supreme Court in particular, is the final arbiter of all things constitutional. And next week, in week two, we're going to be spending some time talking about the various philosophies and schools of thought about how that Constitution should be interpreted. So we're going to spend a lot of time in the history books this week, but again, I think it's pretty much a pretty foundational information that we are going to need to know. Excuse me. We're going to talk in general about some legal basics, the difference between state and federal laws, statutes versus cases, what the judiciary does in respect to interpreting all of those things, and so on and so forth. So this week is going to be pretty much introductory and pretty broad, and then next week we're going to spend some time looking at the specifics of the court system, along with some legal reasoning and judicial philosophy discussion. So again, hope you enjoy this week. I think you'll enjoy the discussion question, which deals with a famous English case that you ought to really be able to sink your teeth into. Pardon the pun. You'll know what I'm talking about once you get to that. But again, if any questions, comments, or issues arise, please don't hesitate to contact me, and we will visit with you throughout the week. Take care.